All right. Here's the square root of 48 times the square root of 15. All right. What's the first thing you have to do? Okay, multiply what? 48 times 15, right? Okay, all right. So you should get this, right? You should get, okay, the square root of 720. Okay, now here's the thing. What you can do is break them up individually instead, as opposed to multiplying them all together, like this, okay? Okay, now after you do that, then what do? You circle your pairs. So you circle a pair of 2s, you circle another pair of 2s, and you circle a pair of 3s, right? Okay, so that means I'm going to take out one 2, a second 2, and a 3, right? So you got a 2, and a 3 outside of the square root. How much is 2 times 2 times 3? 12. Okay, 12, and then square root, and what's left over? 5, and that should be the answer, 12 square root of 5. Okay? There's all that, right? That's what you should take out. And you should have 12 square root of 5, right? Here's your 5. Okay, there you go. 2 times 3 gives me 6. Okay, so here comes the 6, right? All right, and now let's break the 12 and the 15 down instead, as opposed to multiplying them together. So 12 is 1 now. 2 times 2 times 3, and 15 is 1. 3 times 5, right? So we just break these guys down instead of putting them together to begin with. Okay, now what? I see a pair of 2s and a pair of 3s, right? Pair of 2s and a pair of 3s. Like that, right? Okay, so now what am I going to take out of this? Try again. 6, right? 2 times 3 is 6, right? 6. What's still left over inside? 5. But this 6 is going to be put with the 6 already out there. So those two 6s, what do you do with them? No, you multiply. So what's 6 times 6? 36. So the answer should be what? 36 square root of 5. 36 square root of 5. That's what you're going to get. There we go. 36 square root of 5. You got it. Right. So here we go. Here comes the converse, right? We're going to do this. 2 minus square root of 7 on the bottom, 2 minus square root of 7 on the top. All right, now let me ask you this. Do you remember what to do with these two guys? Yeah, you FOIL or box them is right. And what we did in class when we did the lessons, we put parentheses around these, right? And now you're going to see me foiling and boxing over here, like this. Okay, so there's that. Negative 3 on the bottom. Here we go. Okay, and you're going to go distribute that 4 inside of the parentheses, right? So 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times negative square root of 7 is negative 4 square root of 7. There you go. There's the answer. Okay, all right, so I want to get the x squared by itself. There it is. What would you do first to get x squared by itself? Subtract the 4, right? Subtract the 4. So here we go. Here's 3x squared, and then 19 minus 4, 15. What do you do next to get the x squared by itself? Divide by 3. So x squared equals how much? 5. X squared equals 5. Okay, now you got x squared by itself. So now what do you have to do? Square root it. Right, you got to square root it. So now you go square root both of these guys, like that. Okay, so then you get what? X equals square root of 5 plus or minus. Right, it has to be plus or minus because it's quadratic. And that's the part you guys got to remember. So x equals square root of 5 plus or minus square root of 5. There you go. So you got to get x minus 4 squared by itself. So what's the first thing you have to do? Add 2 to both sides. Is right. Yes, here we go. Add 2 to both sides. There you go. Okay, and what's the next thing I do to get x minus 4 by itself? Divide by 5. Right. So we're going to have x minus 4 squared equals what? 3, right? Okay, now what's the next thing I do to get square root? Well, remember if the squared's by itself, now you square root it, right? So now we're square rooting both of these guys. There you go. Okay, so you get what? X minus 4, right? X minus 4 equals, okay, equals square root of 3, right? What? Plus or minus, right? Okay, plus or minus. Is everybody good there? Okay, and now what do you do? Get x by itself, so what do you have to do? Add 4. Okay, so what's the answer going to be if you add 4? 4 plus or minus square root of 3 is how you say it, right? 4 plus or minus square root of 3 is correct. That's what you guys learned. There you go, like that, right? There's your answer. Okay. What you next have to do is this. When you draw a parabola normally will hit the x-axis. Okay, the place where it hits the x-axis is called the x-intercept, right? But it's also called, hold on, let's go back here. It's called the x-intercept, right? Right here and right here, okay? But that's also, it has other names, which I think you guys know these names. So it's also known as the zeros, and it's also known as the roots of the parabola. 3 different names all mean the same thing. Okay, well here comes the thing. If I give you this equation, this standard form equation, and ask you, find the zeros, the roots, right? You guys know how to do this already. So here's the first thing you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to factor them, just like what you had to do on Friday. Okay, so take a look. Is there a common factor? Is there a common factor? Right, the answer is no, there is not. So you multiply 4 times negative 18. So that, how much is that? Negative 72. That's what you're going to see on the board. Negative 72. There it is. Okay. What 2 numbers multiplied give me negative 72, but add to give me negative 21? Okay. And that's going to be, the answer to that is negative 24. Okay. And positive 3. Okay, so now you're going to go factor. Put down your 2 sets of brackets, right? Your 2 parentheses. There we go. All right, and once again, like you guys know, the first one goes in the first one, the last one goes in the last one. Okay, so you guys are doing your work. You understand it. So here's what we get: negative 24x and 3x. Okay, now tell me this: what's the common factor on the first one? 4x. Okay, let's take 4x out. What am I left with? X minus 6. You see how easy it is? What's the common factor on the second one? 3. What's left over? X minus 6. You see, you guys all understand this, okay? You guys are doing your work. There you go. Okay, so now it's time to factor. Y equals what? X minus 6 times 4x plus 3. X minus 6 times 4x plus 3. You're exactly right. Okay, there's that. I had to learn last week. I make the y into a 0. You're right. Oh my gosh, Sweaty, you've been messing with me all the time. That's right. Here we go. Look at this. If y is 0, then how much is x going to be here? 6. How much is x going to be here? Negative 3/4. Oh my gosh. It's so simple. That's what I learned last week. Y x equals 6 and x equals negative 3/4 is right. Okay, here we go. And that's what you're going to see me do. Just draw a little silly graph right here. Here it's going to hit at 6, right? And at negative 3/4, okay, is where we'll hit. Okay. Is everybody good so far? All right, so far so good. It makes sense. Okay, now here's the thing. The thing is then that you're going to get this parabola that looks like this, right? Something that looks like this. Now, we're not sure what it's going to look like. We just know it's going to look something like that, right? And right here, Nick, right here, this point is known as the vertex, okay? It's known as the vertex. Okay, so everyone's good with that. Okay, now, here comes the next part of this. Okay, so write this formula down. It takes this formula to find it. The formula is this. Negative b over 2a, comma, y. And you got to do this on this formula somewhere. You got to use these. All right, now tell me this. The 2 is what? That's my... No, the 2 is a, right? The negative 8 is b, right? And the negative 20 is c. Okay, is right. Okay, so now we're going to take those numbers and stick it into this formula, right? So negative b over 2a. Okay, so you're going to stick this into the formula, right? Like this. All right, and it comes out to be 2. Take the 2 and put it in for the x, and that's what you're going to see me doing now. Here comes the 2 in for the x. Okay? All right, now you're going to solve for the y. Vertex is at 2, negative, comma, negative 28. Right there. That's my vertex. You're going to put a b there. Okay? All right, and here's the graph now. If I drew the graph, I know that this vertex way down here would be at the point 2, negative 28. And stuff. Okay, so if we were to go do this, right? If we want to find the vertex of this guy right here, it's the same situation. Okay? Oops, let me pull this down a little bit so you can see it all. It's the same situation, right? And we go put this all in, right? And we find out that that's where my vertex is, right? Okay, so you use negative b over 2a comma 1, and you'll stick those numbers in there and figure out where the vertex is. Now let's stop it. Okay, so take a look at this. This point right here is going to be what? A maximum or a minimum? A minimum, right? Okay. And this point right here is going to be what? A maximum or a minimum? That's a maximum. Very good. All right, now, so if we ask you, what is the minimum for this graph? What you now write down is this. You go to the vertex, and you write down the y coordinate of the vertex. So the minimum is going to be what? Negative 28. And for this one, right, the second one, the maximum is going to be what? Positive 12. You guys understand that? What you do is just string those together and draw your parabola. That's all you have to do. You're getting. Okay, what's the vertex going to be? 0, 0. You got it. It's 0, 0. Okay, that's what you get there. Okay, now axis of symmetry, AOS. You remember the axis of symmetry is where it cuts it into 2 equal parts, right? You fold over the line and fold around. All that you learn in geometry. So let me ask you this. That's going to go right here like this, right? It's going to go right here like this. Okay, what's the axis of symmetry going to be? X equals 0. That's the line x equals 0 is what you write down. Very good, that's right. Has to be an equation, it can't just be a number. X equals 0. All right, let me ask you this. What's the domain for this thing? Negative infinity to positive infinity. Negative infinity to positive infinity. Curvy, curvy, right? Yeah, you do the lesson stuff also. It's okay. It's just there are different ways of doing it. And let's talk about the range. What's the range going to be? What's the smallest y you got? What's the biggest y you got? Infinity. So it's going to be 0, infinity, straighty curvy. You got it. That's how it works. You see, look at there. You guys got this. Okay, there you go. You got it. I'm just going to put it all up on the board for number 3. We'll see if you got it. So you can factor this number 5 to find out where it hits the x-axis. And what you find out is that it hits the x-axis at negative 1. You just go throw it in the calculator and go put the force down here. See, let's go back. Sorry about that. There it works. Now okay, all right, so it says tell whether the function has a minimum value or a maximum value. All right, so let me ask you this. Is number 7 an uppie or a downie? A downie. So therefore it's going to be a maximum, right? Is number 8 an uppie or a downie? An uppie. Therefore it's going to be a minimum. A minimum. Okay, all right, so now number 9 is going to be a minimum. Number 10 is going to be a maximum. Number 11 is going to be a maximum or minimum. Which one now? Minimum. Okay, minimum is number 11. And number 12 is going to be a maximum. Right. Okay, is correct. Okay, now, how do I find out what the minimum or maximum is? What's that formula again? Negative v over 2a comma y. And that's all you're going to do is take those numbers, plug it in there, find out what the y is, write that down. That's it. That's what you do in those. Okay, and we already did that as part of the lesson, right? So you see, that's how this all complements itself, right? Okay, so let me stop that right there.